Now the Spirit of the Lord is the one that speaks through me. Before my mother's womb, he ordained and knew me, ransomed me, and placed his words upon my tongue. Few are chosen, rest assured that I am one, an ambassador for Christ, his beloved son. And by his word, let souls be one. So welcome everyone to this listening party. Sit back and let your souls be hearty. Celebrate with me the gift that God has imparted. And what better way to get this party started than to give him the stage, because he knows where your heart is. Holy Spirit, you are welcome in this place. Give me the boldness to look upon each face and speak every word that you've given me to say. With no fear I speak truth, I won't deviate, and I'm confident that all will go great. So let your presence saturate this place. I breathe in your spirit, I intake a river full of life, water in every dry place. As I flow to the notes that heaven navigates, let it bless every listener and free them today. Let the truth of your word draw souls to be saved. Let the comforter comfort hearts today, and let the light of your word show them the way. Every time I write, I tell his story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. He opens up to me and shows me his glory. He gives me the strength to keep on soaring, and when I open up my mouth, for him I'm roaring. And the Spirit of the Lord goes before me, to the captive set free, that's reassuring. Over the years he strengthened my inner core, and every day I wake up just seeking him more. Am I ready for this? In my spirit I'm sure I am in Christ, and my Father I adore. He redeemed me from destruction, I am his ambassador. As the world turns and open up the door, I step in with purpose to win souls for the Lord. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell a story as I bask in the truth of his word before me. Every time I write, I tell the story as I bask in the truth of his word before me.
Hey, welcome to Tom the Bomb Sports Talk, the fastest growing show in the world. It's Monday, July 14th, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. If you don't think it's a great day, just try missing one. And we LOVE love sports and the Word of God on the Tom the Bomb Show. Hey, gang, yes, we are live on Facebook. Our contact number here is 301-655-9992. And you can catch all the replays immediately after the live show on YouTube at Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. We're also, believe it or not, we're on TikTok as well. You can also contact us by email at info@tomthebombsports.com. And of course, you can always visit our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. Hey, gang, I'd like to personally thank you guys for your prayers, your support. We hear you loud and clear. And for everyone that have reached out wanting to contribute to the show and our ministry, we sincerely thank you. And that we appreciate your patronage, and you can bless us to keep creating content and spreading the word of God. Our business cash app is hashtag $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. That's $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. We sincerely thank you, and may God bless you 100-fold return on the seed that you've sown into our ministry at the Tom the Bomb Show. As usual, we want to start off by thanking God for all the wonderful things that he's already done for us in 2025. Of course, our theme for 2025 is living in the grace realm. And guys, if you guys aren't catching our Friday night grace devotionals with Dr. Lauren, you are missing out. Listen, our foundational scripture for all of 2025 is found in 2 Corinthians 9:8. And this is the Passion Translation. And it says, yes, God, like yes, like a command. Yes, God is more than ready to overwhelm you with every form of grace so that you will have more than enough of everything, every moment, and in every way. He will make you overflow with abundance in every good thing that you do. Hey, gang. Hey, listen, my big brother, Nat Wood, hey, got me this shirt. How do I look? He decided he wanted to contribute to the Tom the Bomb wardrobe. What do you guys think? Hit us on Facebook. How did Nate do? Did he do good? Did he do okay, Nate? Thank you, big brother. Listen, we got trivia question and we got poll questions for you guys. Let's get to our trivia question. Our trivia question day is who has hit the most home runs in a season by a catcher in Major League Baseball, and how many did he hit in that season? What catcher holds the record for most home runs in a season? We're going to get to that a little bit later. We also had a poll question. Tom the Bomb actually been doing a little bit of work. Okay, our poll question today is: should the women's final be changed to 5 sets instead of the current format of 3 sets? You know, uh, Swiatek kind of took out Amanda, the American. She kind of bloodied her. We're going to get into that, and a lot of people were saying that look, the 2 sets just aren't enough because I think it was pretty obvious that Amanda was really really nervous, and in a match that only goes 2 sets, or 3 sets, you lose the first two, and it's Katie bar the door. You're done. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but that's our poll question. What do you guys think? Should the finals, at least the finals, be changed to 5 sets instead of the current format of 3 set? Kimmy, what do you think? That's the time about tennis expert, Kimmy. So what do you guys think? Hey, look, let's get into it. Look, it's Wimbledon. It's Wimbledon. It's Wimbledon. We finally have our Wimbledon champ. So let's start off. Okay, we've got okay, Yannick Sinner beats Carlo Alcaraz to win his first Wimbledon title. The All England club in London, he would beat him 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 in the Wimbledon final on Sunday. The number one seed prevailed over the number two seed in a tight match, ultimately decided by two stunning set points. Alcaraz's grass tools malfunctioning and center steadiness behind and his bullet-like serves, he literally aced Alcaraz to death. Okay. It's Sinner's first Wimbledon title and his fourth Grand Slam title. The win the win also snapped Sinner's streak of 5 successive defeats against Carlos Alcaraz, taking their head-to-head in ATP matches to 8-5 in Alcaraz's favor. Alcaraz had won the previous 5 meetings in this growing rivalry. Okay, Alcaraz basically has been outlasting Center, stretching Center to 5+ sets and turning the matches into marathons. Okay. And Carlos Alcaraz stole the first set, proving again in the final point of the first set on Sunday, taking a 7-0 lead and then winning it 10-2, saving his best for last. Alcaraz's finger went to his ear, just like he did in Paris at the French Open when he began his incredible comeback. But in the second set, Center said, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Knowing that Alcaraz is almost unbeatable in 5 set matches, Sinner played the second set with a balls to the walls, all out, now or never approach, showing more emotions in 1 set than he usually shows over an entire tournament. Sinner got Sinner got the early breaks as Alcaraz's serve got wobbly, and every time crunch time arrived, Senate responded, letting out a big yell, "Let's go!" Basically, he announced his intentions with authority. Senate was attacking 38% of the time compared to 25% in the first set that he lost. Center's first serve went from 55% in the first set to 67% in the second set. He went from playing to fighting. Okay, after getting punched in the mouth, okay, Center responded like a champ. Okay, Alcaraz, Alcaraz's greatest variety is what gives him an edge over Center, and it's even more exaggerated when they play on grass, where Alcaraz's signature drop shots and confidence to get forward and volley is what usually separates Wimbledon champions from those who can bash from the baseline. So with the drop shot being Alcaraz's difference maker and his, if we can say, his secret special sauce, it was kind of a shock And an eye opener when center hit the first winning drop shot. That kind of signal of things to come. Center has been working hard on improving in his drop shots, and the rivalry between these two are forcing each player to improve any slight weaknesses in their game. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. You know, a great player needs another great player to push him, okay? So Alcaraz seemed to play safe when he was hitting his drop shots, allowing center to chase them down to take control of the set. Now, which means basically he's losing the advantage of Alcaraz's variety being taken away. It seemed to be less of a grass court match and more of a shootout. What do you think, Kimmy? And when center found his groove with his serve from the third set on and started dominating the baseline, it was turn out the lights, the party's over. They say all good things must come to an end for Carlos Alcaraz. Okay, the the previous six Grand Slams had followed the pattern of center wins on the hard court, and Alcaraz has dominated the grass and the clay. On Sunday at Wimbledon, the grass court seemed to turn into a hard court for center, and he flushed it with seven aces as his first serve got more effective as the match went on. Now, in Paris, Center suffered the ultimate heartbreak of having three championship points and not winning the French Open. No male player has ever missed that many in a Grand Slam final. He also had a chance to serve out the match, but he faltered there also. So when Center's first serve deserted him at 4-3 up in the fourth set, flashbacks started rising up. Alcaraz earned two break points and the chance to level the set out at 4-4, but not so fast, my friend. Center responded this time and locked in, saving one break point with a powerful second serve and the other with 134-mile-per-hour rocket. Okay, Center eked out the hold, and then he did what he couldn't do at Roland Garros, serving it out 5-4 in the fourth set. This time, Center had three championships points. And just like in Paris, Alcaraz saved the first one, but Center had one last blast that Alcaraz couldn't get his racket to. Center had his redemption, get busy winning or get busy losing. Okay, the center wins. Hey, you know what? Somehow that just doesn't sound right. The center wins. Right, right, right. Okay, 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 okay. Let's say Yannick wins. That sounds better, doesn't it? The center wins on the Time of the Bomb Show. Yeah, let's just say Yannick wins. Okay, look, these two guys need each other to make them both greater. You know, just like Arnold Palmer had Jack Nicklaus, Tom Brady had Peyton Manning, Tiger Woods had Phil Mickelson, McEnroe had Bjorn Borg. Federer had Nadal. Ali had Frazier. Frazier goes down. Frazier goes down. Okay, you guys know what I'm saying out there? Now, center has Alcaraz. And these two guys are going to push each other. And they're going I forgot one more. Tom the Bomb has Dr. Lauren. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Come on, guys. You know we're gonna have fun today, right? We gotta have fun today, right, Vic? Okay, listen, let's move on to the ladies. Iga Swiatek crushed crushed Amanda Anisimova in the most dominant Wimbledon final win in over a century, in over 100 years. 100 years, okay? That's a long time. Hey, Uncle Zuba's going to be 100. That just goes to show you how long 100 years is, a century. Look, Amanda Anisimova was unable to win a single game in the women's single finals, losing 6-0, 6-0, or they call it six bagel, six bagel. But 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 she beat Joe Lewis's. She beat Joe Lewis's. Okay, all right. In actuality, she beat Arena Sabalenka. I want to talk about this for a minute, but you guys work with me while I go down this rabbit hole. Okay, uh, Sabalenka, who is quickly becoming the black hat in women's professional tennis. On the Tom the Bomb Show, we always talk about, one of our themes is how important it is on how we win and lose in sports, and more importantly, in life. because sometimes you win, but you lose. And sometimes you lose, but you win. So, how we win and lose in life is very, very important. Okay. After apologizing to Coco Golf for unprofessional comments after losing to Coco Golf in the French Open, she took another difficult loss at Wimbledon to Anna Nisimova, 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. And she said, this is what Subling said, it pissed her off that the American Amanda Nisimova celebrated too soon in Wimbledon. Look, you can't tell me how to celebrate. Especially if I win. Okay, that's crazy. It was the Wimbledon upset over Sabalenka, as she told reporters after the loss. Sabalenka tried to focus her remarks on self reflections and moving forward. She tried to be magnanimous, saying she accepted the defeat and said Anna Missimova was a better player that day. That day, after recalling trying to chase down Anisimova's shot while Amanda was already celebrating. Someone on her team has got to reel her in because she's a terrible loser. And again, social media is blasting her. They are ripping her a new one. Sabalenka's poor sportsmanship and unprofessional behavior. Many fans on social media have been voicing their pleasures in the grunter. That's what they call her. I've been following the social media on this. They call her the grunter, and that's another thing. They don't like the way she grunts and screams through the match. I mean, like really, really loud. The decimal level of saying is really loud. So the loss to Anna Mismova tennis fans have been calling Sabalenka out for her hypocritical behavior. The number one seeded Sabalenka again had her Wimbledon title crushed on Thursday by yet another underdog American. Sabalenka asked the chair umpire, she actually asked the chair umpire to penalize Anna Nisimova for hindrance. Okay. She's rapidly becoming one of the more unlikable players on tour because she'll do anything but credit her opponent, one fan said. Another fan said Sabalenka is clearly not aware of how much obnoxious she is all over her matches. This woman just cannot lose gracefully, a third fan posted on X. Okay, back to the champ. Okay, Poland's Iga Swiatek thrashed her American opponent in just 57 minutes to win her sixth Grand Slam title and first at Wimbledon. She's the first woman to win a Wimbledon final by that scoreline since Dorothea Lambert Chambers beat Dora Boothby. Listen to Tom the Bomb going deep in 1911. I think Zub alive in 1911. Okay, She also became the second player in the Open era to win without dropping a game after Steffi Graf beat Natasha Zareva at the 1988 French Open. Anisimova, the 13th seed, was appearing in her first Grand Slam. She put on a clinic as Anna Anisimova was clearly overmatched. Swiatek is now 6-0 in major finals and second only to Venus Williams, who's 7-0 in major finals. The win was so lopsided that there are rumblings from for a rule change on the women's side to go to a 5-set match. Everyone could clearly see the nerves and the tension on the first-time American Anna Nisimova. The feeling is if she had more time to calm her nerves down, it would prevent these players from dominating the women's finals. When you get down 5-0, the match is over in 3 sets. But if you know you can knuckle down because you have another 2 sets to go. The difference on the men's side is that the guys have so much more time to play into their matches, even if they start off nervous. The example citing is Carlos Alcaraz. Alcaraz, as an example, being nervous in the first set, his first time, but he had time to play through his nerves and come back and win a 5-set thriller against Novak Djokovic in 2023. So the critics on the women's side say that there are already too many injuries in 3-set matches. And then also the 3-set matches are already going 3 hours. So 5 sets would be too much of a strain on the women's bodies and would cause too many injuries. You know what? You know what? You can't have it both ways. Okay. They fought and they fought and they fought for equal pay. And now the women get paid just as much as the men, as they should. Okay. But then you can't turn around and say the finals, they can't play 5 sets because they're too dainty and they may get injured. That's that if they could do that just for the finals. Tom the Bob thinks they should do this for the finals because, I agree. Amanda, it was her first time in a final, and like I said, everybody could clearly see how nervous she was, the nerves, and in golf, we have a saying, in a tournament, there's 4 rounds, and there's a saying, you can't win a tournament in the first round, but you could lose it in the first round. And with a 3-set match, she basically lost that tournament in the first couple sets. But like I said, with a 5-set match, it'll give you time to play yourself through the nerves and get through it and get a break going. So that it is what do you guys think? That's our poll question for today. Do you think the women should, and just for the finals, should they play 5 sets or should they stick to 3 sets? What do you guys think? We want to know. Let us know on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let us know. We want to know. We will calculate and find. We'll give you the results next week. All right, let's move on. The 2025 Major League Baseball draft took place yesterday. So it's going on today as well, but it started yesterday. So here's the top 5 picks for the first round so far. All right. With the number 1 pick, the Washington Nationals have the number 1 pick. They took high school shortstop Eli Willits from Fort Cobb Braxton High School in Oklahoma. Do you guys know how many baseball studs come from Oklahoma? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. His high school's in Oklahoma. It was really a shock for him to go number 1 overall. But the Nats are betting on the 17-year-old. He's the third youngest player taken in the history of Major League Baseball overall at number 1 as a 17-year-old. The other 17-year-old that was taken was a guy by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He turned out pretty good, right? Right. Okay. So on the 7 year, after making a major organization reshuffle just last week, the Nats says, here's what the Nats say. They say he's a surefire shortstop. He's a 3 to possibly 4 star tool player. Willits won't turn 18 until December. And let me just say, and the studies show that such competence at a young age tends to bode well for the player's long-term overlook. The Nats' new interim GM says that Willits has the best bat and the best glove in the whole draft, and he's the guy that we wanted. I hope they're right. I hope they're right. I don't think so. These we're getting ready to talk about the next 4 guys that were taken, and I don't know. Let's just hope they're right. But losing organizations have a way to do losing things. They really really do. So we will see. Hey, maybe he could be the next like Ken Griffey Jr. Doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see. We will see. All right. Okay. At number 2, the Los Angeles Angels took Tyler Bremen at number 2. He's a right-handed pitcher from UC Santa Barbara coming into the draft cycle. Brenneman was viewed as a legitimate candidate to go in the top 5 on the strength of his elite changeup. Now, rediscovering his fastball is going to be key to his development and success at the next level. The changeup is the best pitch in baseball. It's the everybody thinks of a dominant 100 plus mile an hour fastball, and that's great. You want that. Having a 100 mile an hour fastball is like being the cutest girl or the best looking guy. Everybody wants that. But the best pitch in baseball is that changeup. The changeup is the one that gets you. That's what the changeup does, even more so than the curve. Okay, at number 3, the Seattle Mariners took Cade Anderson with the number 3 pick. He's a left-handed pitcher from LSU. Anderson is a 4 pitch lefty who survived an SEC vetting. Now that just says a lot because the SEC, just like the SEC is really really strong in football, the SEC is really, really strong in college baseball. So when you come out of the SEC as the top pitcher, you've been vetted like the billionaires vet each other. Okay. So he's got a low 90s fastball. He's got two breaking balls, a hard slider, and he's got the changeup that generates ample whiffs against righties. He has good control and he doesn't walk a lot of batters. And he's considered to be the best left-hander in college. Look, if your kid could be anything, if you got a kid that's talented in sports, and he could be like maybe the next Tiger Woods or the next Lamar Jackson or the next LeBron James or something like that. Let me tell you what you want him to be. You'd want him to be a left-handed pitcher. If you're a left-handed pitcher, oh my goodness, just back up Fort Knox to your house because that's where the big bucks are. Okay, so he's considered the best left-hander in all of college. Okay, and he didn't go number one. That's why I don't like the Nats pick. I don't. But you know what? Felix is coming on, and Felix is the Nats and the Washington Commanders guru. So we're gonna talk to Felix about that. All right. Listen, the Colorado Rockies had the number 4, and they selected homeboy Ethan Holiday. What do you say, homeboy? Well, he's the number 1 pick. He's a third baseman slash shortstop, probably going to end up being a third baseman out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, another guy out of Oklahoma high school. He's the most, Ethan is the most famous player in this year's draft, being the son of former All-Star Matt Holliday, who played for the Colorado Rockies and the St. Louis Cardinals. And he has an all-star brother in the major leagues right now, Jackson Holiday of the Baltimore Orioles. Okay. So Ethan comes with an enormous, really unfair expectation on his career before it even begins. Okay. Probably, you know what? A good example of is Peyton Manning and then Eli came, right. And Eli won 2 Super Bowls. And I think winning 2 Super Bowl makes Eli a Hall of Famer. That's another story. But this is a good example. So we had Peyton Manning. We knew how good Peyton Manning is. That's what Jackson Holiday is like with the Baltimore Orioles. And now Ethan has been drafted by the Colorado Rockies. So Ethan is kind of like Eli. Okay. And I thought with all the expectations that was put on Eli, I thought Eli had a pretty good career. What do you guys think? I think so. Okay. So Ethan's a third baseman. And what's interesting though, he's right-handed, but he bats left-handed. And he has a good approach, and he's got some serious pop in his back. He's got more power than his big brother Jackson. He's projected as a middle of the lineup type hitter. I don't know if you guys can hear that the storm rumbling out there, but we getting that weather hitting here in the area in the DMV. But yeah, but Ethan is projected to be a middle of the lineup type hitter. They're working on his approach, but he's got some pop in his bat. And hey, you know what? Troy always talk about he comes from good genes. His daddy's Matt Holliday, his big brother is Jackson Holliday. This guy was the most popular guy, the well-known guy in the draft, and the Nats had a chance to take him, and they didn't. They took another shortstop. So we're going to say, as a matter of fact, well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself, but we'll get there. Getting to the number 5 pick, my St. Louis Cardinals had the number 5 pick. And let me tell you something. If you have the number top 5 picks in the draft, that means you're really not a good baseball team. So, hey, there it is. I just said it. St. Louis Cardinals with the number 5 pick, it means they're not a good baseball team. That organization is going down. They got to get rid of Daniel Snyder. Wait a minute. Daniel Snyder doesn't own the St. Louis Cardinals, does he? Does Daniel Snyder own the St. Louis Cardinals? But the owners who own him, they're acting like Daniel Snyder. We need to get rid of Daniel Snyder. All right. Come on, man. You know I could take a whole show on these St. Louis Cardinals, man. Man, watching the St. Louis Cardinals is like playing Russian roulette by yourself. Okay, all right. Reel it in, Tom the Bomb. Reel it in. Okay, the St. Louis Cardinals got lucky. They got lucky, and Liam Doyle literally fell into their lap at number 5. The Cardinals were planning on drafting Eli Willett, the guy who went number 1 to the Nats, because he was projected as a between a 5 and number 5 and 10 player, and the Nats took him number 1 overall. So Liam Doyle Nobody expected Liam Doyle to be available at 5. So, like I said, he literally fell into the St. Louis Cardinals' lap. And what did I just say? If your son could be anything, you want him to be a what? A what? A left-handed pitcher. Liam Doyle is a left-handed pitcher from Tennessee. He was the breakout star of the college baseball, this just past college baseball season. He struck, listen to this. He struck out 47 batters, 47 batters in his first 20 innings. Let's do the math. There's 3 batters an inning. 3 times 20 is 60. He struck out 47 out of 60. So now, of course, he didn't carry that pace for the whole season, but that just lets you know how good his stuff is. He led the country in strikeout rates at 43%. He has a 95 plus mile an hour fastball. He gets up to triple digits and 100 digits. Remember what I told you about the fastball? That 100-mile fast? That's the pretty girl. That's the handsome guy. You want that guy. The St. Louis Cardinals got him at 95 plus fastball, and he leans on it heavily. He throws his fastball. If he was in the major leagues, he would be number 1 on the list for throwing his fastball the most. So he's got to work on his other pitches, and he does have other pitches. He's got a slider. He's got the changeup and that shows promise as well. And he was projected to go between the number 1 and the number 3 picks. So for him to show up at number 5, it was like Christmas for the St. Louis Cardinals just today. So the Cardinals, like I said, the Cardinals weren't expecting to be available. They really thought that they were going to be taking Eli Willits, and I don't really understand that because they got Mason Wynn right now. Mason Wynn is a young stud, and for that fact, the other thing too, and we were going to ask Felix about this. The Nationals have C.J. Abrams, who was the guy who came over in the trade for Juan Soto, and he's a good young shortstop. So I don't know about taking Eli Willits. Listen, in baseball, you always err on the side of pitching. You can never have too much pitching. Uh, uh, Having too much pitching is like, you know what? I got too much money. I just got too much money. Isn't that the problem we all want to have? That we have too much, or I got too much love, or I got too much jello. Okay, Tom the Bomb likes Jello. Okay, all right. Okay, but listen, you can never have too many pitchers. And the guy that went number 2 was considered the best left-hander in baseball. And then the Cardinals get Liam Doyle, the best pitcher that had the best season in college baseball. And then the Nats passed. You know what? Can't wait to get to Phillies. We're going to talk about this. So, like I said, that's what the Cardinals thought they would be available for them at number 5. So the Nats, they still don't know what they're doing. Like I said, we will see. We will see. Hey, gang, let's take a commercial break and pay some bills, and we'll be back with 5 good minutes with Felix, and then we can ask Felix about this because Felix know more about the DMV than Tom the Bomb. So we'll be right back. All righty.
Window Nation is on the Morgan's home turf to huddle up about replacing their drafty old windows.
This free estimate is showing how easy it is to tackle the problem.
We can get any of these windows custom made.
Yes, you can get the quality and style you really want.
And at a more affordable price than they ever imagined.
Now that they've sealed the deal, they'll be saving money year-round.
We're really confident with Window Nation.
Get your free estimate today and get 60% off all windows plus no interest or payments for 24 months at getwindownation.com.
Sheltered by the Sea of Cortez, Danzante Bay is a pure and peaceful oasis, an uncrowded retreat where your options are as vast as your views. If you're seeking a vacation that defines luxury and the true relaxation, look no further than Villa del Palmar at the islands of Loreto. A splendor of true Mexican hospitality effortlessly blends with rich materials and insatiable comforts to bring guests the ideal home away from home experience. With its quiet beaches, scenic vistas, rich history, and an astounding surrounding natural habitat, you'll feel as though you've been swept off to paradise. Not to be outdone, Reese Jones has crafted TPC Danzante Bay, a brilliant, multi-themed 18-hole golf course that runs over and through valleys, arroyos, dunes, and foothills. From every angle, striking images of the islands of Loreto and the surrounding mountain range take your breath away, while the challenging yet rewarding Baja Golf Course beckons you to return for more. It is an honor and my pleasure to welcome you to the world's most beautiful sunset and so much more.
And we're back. Hey, gang, what are we watching tonight? Well, we have the Home Run Derby tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN from Truist Park in Atlanta. We are guaranteed to have a new winner. We're guaranteed to have a new winner as two-time winner Pete the Polar Bear Alonso has withdrawn from the competition. So he's not going to repeat a third time. So here's your lineup for the Home Run Derby, and then we're going to work Felix in here. At number one, we got James Wood. You know, I had a brother named James Wood. James Wood, the Nationals, because the Nats suck. I'm sorry, that's just really no nice way to say it. They suck. The 22, what? The the 22-year-old phenom has almost went unnoticed, but Wood has put up MVP-like numbers, ranking in the top 10 by WAR and showing prodigious, prodigious power to all fields. He's the first player to be walked 4 times in one game since Barry Bonds. That should tell you everything you need to know that he's terrifying. It should also tell you how bad the Nationals are, that they just aren't going to, they're going to pitch to anybody but James Wood. So James Wood is leading us off in the Home Run Derby. Then we've got O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's my dark horse, okay? Nobody swings harder than O'Neal Cruz, and he leads Major League Baseball in exit velocity this year. Both Cruz and Woods, they have looping types of swings that might not work in a home run derby, but these young guys are freakish strong. So if he doesn't win, don't be surprised if he hits the longest home run of the night. That's how hard this guy swings. So we got to keep an eye on him. At number three is kind of the favorite, Cal, the Big Dumper Riley. Man, that's just the best nickname, the Big Dumper. Cal Riley of the Seattle Mariners is on pace to hit 62 dingers this year. He's clearly going to be a fan favorite and should set a major league record for most homers in a season by a catcher. Hey, that kind of ties right in with our sports trivia question. What catcher has hit the most home runs in Major League Baseball in one season? Uh, should we save that for the end of the show? We'll save that for the end of the show. Dr. Lawrence has saved it for the end of the show. But hey, the big dumper is going to break that record. Okay. The big dumper is going to break that. Like I said, he's on pace to hit 62 dingers. And I can tell you right now, the record is not 62 dingers for a catcher. It's not. Okay. So the big dumper is probably the favorite. And he's a switch hitter as well. I love it. The big dumper. Isn't that a great name? Like when he comes up to bat on the big teleprompter screen, they roll a big dump truck up, and then they beep, 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 and then they open up the thing, and baseballs fall out of it. It's so cool. That's so cool. Hey, at number four, we got hometown hero Matt Olson of the host Atlanta Braves. Initially, Ronald Acuna Jr. was supposed to be the hometown guy in this home run derby, but with his injuries over the last 3 years, I thought in the beginning this was a bad idea. He's just too valuable to have in a home run derby. You don't want to get that guy re-injured in a home run derby. So Matt Olson will be a great substitute. He's a local guy. He's actually from Atlanta, Georgia, and he's already hit 54 dingers in one season, more than Acuna Jr. He's a much better home run hitter than Acuna Jr. anyway. Right now, he's still looked upon as the Freddie Freeman replacement. Listen, the Braves, the Atlanta loved Freddie Freeman because Freddie Freeman is such a great, great guy. So it ain't nothing that Matt Olson did. Matt Olson's a great guy too, and he's a hometown guy. And the people in Atlanta still look at Matt Olson like the Freddie Freeman replacement. You know what? You know what? I kind of refer that to. It was kind of like when Joe Montana left the 49ers and Steve Young took over. Man, people just didn't like Steve Young because he came after Joe Montana. But Steve Young was a Hall of Famer just like Joe Montana. And Matt Olson is that good. He's that guy too. So, man, if you can get a replacement for Fred, because when the Braves let Freddie Freeman go, they didn't even blink an eye when they brought in Matt Olson. Okay, the Dodgers just greed is good. Gordon Gecko. They just took everything. Okay. So this could open up more hearts in Atlanta for Matt Olson. The next guy is Chaz Chisholm. Okay, Chaz Chisholm. Chaz Chisholm of the Yankees will be bringing his torpedo bat to hot Atlanta. Not the Yankee that most people want to see. Carlos Stanton won the home run derby in 2016 and Aaron Judge in 2017, and no Yankee has participated in the home run derby since then. So good luck, Chaz. I like Chaz. He's a little, he's kind of small when you think of being his home run derby. But boy, that torpedo bat has been working for him, Felix. Then we got Junior Caminero of the Rays. The 22-year-old is compulsive and entertaining, a sure star of the future. It may be a little early for him. They almost kind of had to to me, it kind of seemed like the home run derby is kind of turning into like what the NBA slam dunk is, because the marquee players are starting to kind of start to pass on this. So, Tom the Bomb's a seam head, and some of these guys I had to check. I was like, who? Who? So at number 7, we got Brent Rooker of the Oakland A's, the Athletics. He came out of nowhere to become the A's most reliable right-handed power hitter. And he's just kind of happy to be there, and I understand it. So you're just your first All-Star game. Then we have Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. Uh, Buxton comes into Derby off of just hitting for the cycle, the first in team history. He's actually from Georgia, and he's a long shot. His game is overall, and he's a true 3 to 4 tool type player. So we'll see him. Hey, let's start our 5 good minutes with Felix. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for this. Hey, Felix, you there? How you doing?
Yes, I'm right here.
All righty. Okay, let's start off with the Major League 2025 draft and home run derby. Let's start off with the Nats had the number 1 pick. Tell us about that, Felix.
Well, first off, I wanted to say that this is one of the youngest players ever drafted because this player is still 17, and this person was drafted right out of high school. So
Hmm.
just imagine that, like this kid graduates high school 1 month, next month, boom, he's in Major League Baseball with Washington Nationals.
Right,
So
right, right, right.
but also what I wanted to say, I wanted to stick to the topic of baseball here. Um, all I want to say is this: you can tell, but so much about a player before you actually see them perform at the major league level. So I do want to temper my expectations with all players being acquired here. But at the same time, I think that the Nationals have the first pick in the draft. Generally speaking, when a team has the first pick in the draft, you're going to get a solid player. And the Nationals, historically speaking, when they had
Right.
the first pick, they did well with it. So you
Yeah.
look at Strasburg, you look at Harper. So I'm excited for the Nats, but I can't tell too much. But I have a strong feeling they made the right decision.
Well, you know what? I'm glad to hear you say that because, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, me personally, I always like to err on the side of pitching, and they passed up some pretty good prospects. If we can just go back a couple of years, we got Paul Skeens, who's going to be starting for the National League in the All-Star game. We got Scooble for the Detroit Tigers, who's going to be starting for the American League. These guys were top picks out of the draft just a few years ago. And I think there was 3 or 4 guys in that draft that might be that good. And I feel like the Nats passed on them. So I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. Righty. Let's talk some football, and then we're going to get to your beloved Commanders. Let's start off with the NFL top 100 players rank. We started this last week, and now we're going to cover the players from 90 to 81. Felix, you ready for this?
Yes,
All righty. At number 90, we got Zach Allen of the Denver Broncos. He's a defensive lineman. Allen led all defensive tackles with 67 pressures in 2024. He's great against double teams. If Denver takes another step in 2025, Zach Allen will be a pivotal role player. He had 61 tackles and 9 sacks and a safety. What's your take on Zach?
Yes, and the thing about the Denver Broncos is all the talk's on Bo Nix, but no one knows this about the Broncos defense. They have one of the premier defenses in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And take away from their offense, but a lot of the games were decided by how close the defense kept it. And sometimes, if the Broncos had an offensive error, they were stagnant on offense, the defense would help bridge the gap. And that's similar to what I saw with Washington in the early 2020s. So he was a big part of that. So he's number one with double coverage rates. Not only that, but also you mentioned that he's able to generate pressures. Now, pressures usually don't show up on stat sheets for a lot of people, but that's a major part in determining the passing success of your
Mm-hmm.
opponent. So, again, well deserved honor.
Felix, let me ask you this. Some of the so-called talking head experts are actually picking the Denver Broncos over Mother Wig's Kansas City Chiefs. Now, we don't want Mother Wig to start cussing. So, so Felix, put Mother Wig at ease. Are the Broncos going to give her Kansas City Chiefs a run in the West this year?
I will say this: the Kansas City Chiefs, they have the best, most talented quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that's really should be enough right there. But from what I see, I don't think the Chiefs did enough to improve upon their wide receiver core. You're not asking for anyone to lead. You just need people to catch the ball in advance, and it can't always be on Kelsey, and it can't always. And Pacheco's not going to be able to bail them out every single game because I think people are figuring that out about the Chiefs. So in reality, to answer the question, the Chiefs could easily fix this problem, and I think that they'd have nothing to worry about if they make the right calls. But the Broncos, I would say that a Chiefs fan would have a right to be mildly concerned about the Broncos this year.
Okay, so is Mother Wig on thin ice? She walking on eggshells?
Yes, in short, yes.
You hear that, Mother Wig? You better watch out for them Broncos. All righty. Hey, look at number 89. We got James Cook, running back of the Buffalo Bills. He rushed for 1,000. He rushed for 1,009 yards. He had 16 TDs, which was second in all of the NFL. 32 receptions for 258 yards and two receiving touchdowns. Cook has been a godsend for the Buffalo Bills since joining them in 23-3. He's done a great job of taking the weight off of Josh Allen. Like I said, he tied for the league lead in rushing TDs. He's efficient, he's explosive, and I was really, really impressed with his foot speed and his impressive running. Running to the weak side of the defense. This guy had more yards to the weak side of the defense than any other back in the NFL. What's your take on Cook?
In terms of Cook, a lot of people don't realize this about the Bills now. Take nothing from Josh Allen. He's been a solid player, but I'd say having Cook there helps him out a lot because the Bills, they're not as predictable, not as, I don't want to say one dimensional, but with the Bills, I kind of noticed the Bills do one of two things. They kind of went to the deep ball back when they had Diggs on the roster. Now that Diggs is no longer there, I noticed that they're more methodical on offense, but it seems, again, they're able to break their patterns. They're able to keep defense guessing with Cook as a running back. So again, he's not really talked about enough. So I'm actually really happy to see him on this list.
Yep. At number 88, we got Andrew Van Ginkel, outside linebacker of the Vikings, had 79 tackles with 12 sacks, an interception, and two TDs. He led the linebackers in touchdowns last year. He helped transform. The Vikings defense into a top 5 unit. He's also a super cover man. He's a stud, and they brought him back. He came back. The head coach of the Miami Dolphins that got fired. I can't think of his name right now, Felix, but he's the defensive coordinator. Say again.
Flores?
Yes, Flores. Right. He played for Flores in Miami. So him going to the Vikings, he fit right into Flores' defensive scheme. So he's like I said, he's a superb cover guy and he's a stud. What's your take on Van Ginkel?
So you said it right there, coverage guy. And honestly, if you have a linebacker who's not only fast, not only able to get the tackles, but also does coverage, that's basically everything you want out of a linebacker. And I saw what he was able to do firsthand. There was that one game they had in Washington 2 years back, and he was part of a crucial turnover that Washington had. So yes, I know firsthand what he's able to do to an NFL offense. And once again, to your point, the Minnesota Vikings, a lot of people don't bring this up, but major hallmark of their success last year was their defense, and it
Hmm.
was a big part of it.
Yep, absolutely. At 87, we got Quentin Williams, defensive tackles for the New York Jets. He had 37 tackles with 6 sacks, and even with down numbers, he's still a Pro Bowler. Now, last year, he was 50 spots lower in the 2024 rankings, but so he dropped 50 spots in 2025 because he had a down year. But like I said, even with that being said, he's still a Pro Bowler. So that lets you know what kind of stud he is. What's your take on Quentin?
I think you said it best right there. So even with the down year, he's still a top player in the NFL. And the Jets, like we say, they have a top ranked. They have one of the better defenses in the NFL. But people think about the secondary, and I'd say what he's doing at but the front seven helps to set up what you see happening. You put the quarterback under pressure, makes the job a little easier if the quarterback's not making the best decision or rush decision. Makes it easier for the defensive back. So to your point, to going back to your point, if he has his stats back up, you could expect him to go up a few spots next year.
Hey, this next guy, I know you're just going to love. At number 86, we got Laramie Tunsil, offensive tackle for the Commanders. He only allowed 2 sacks last season. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, and he's the fourth ranked offensive tackle in pass blocking in all of football. The Commanders, and I can say this, and Felix are ecstatic to have the 6'5", 313-pound left tackle to protect, listen to this, the natural. You know who the natural is, right? What's your take on Laramie Tunsil?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely excited to have Larry Tunsil on the roster. Now, the offensive line has been greatly improved over the past few years. Then adding Tunsil, I think that he is one of the final pieces, if not the final piece to it. And I would say that well, his reputation speaks for itself. But
Mhm.
but what I wanted to say was protecting Jay Daniels. That's of major utmost importance because we saw
Mhm.
last year, although he didn't suffer, thankfully it wasn't a major injury.
Mhm.
But we saw how that rib injury that he had mid-season greatly impacted him for a few weeks. He
Right.
wasn't as accurate, it wasn't as fast. So when you have a solid O line in front of him, you're not going to have to worry about things of that nature anymore. So really, I'm really excited to have him as part of the roster.
Felix, being a 49er fan, I love Debo Samuels. And I think everybody in Washington is going to fall in love with Debo because he's kind of like a sexy addition. But I think Laramie Tunsil is the best thing the Commanders did in the offseason. Do you agree or disagree with that? I'm sorry? Yep, yep,
I agree
absolutely.
100% because Debo Samuel, I'd say Debo Samuel would add to the team. I don't want to say he has an auxiliary role, but I'd say that Tunsil, he's someone you need there. Like
Mhm.
that's an essential. So I agree.
Well, a lot of people don't know this that aren't like really football nerds like you and I, but the most important position behind quarterback is the left tackle. That it's just that plain and simple. Okay, at number 85, we got Kyron Williams, running back for the Los Angeles Rams. He rushed for 1,299 yards with 14 TDs. He had 34 receptions for 182 yards. And it's amazing because people keep doubting his talent and trying to almost diss him. And he just keeps on producing and producing. He's a hard-nosed runner who plays bigger than what his size actually is. What's your take on Kyron Williams?
So I would say first off, you brought forth an interesting point. You said he plays bigger than what his size shows, and honestly thought that people were over the whole size thing when in the '90s when you had Barry Sanders, Darrell Green, both like 5'7", 5'8" guys
Mhm.
were among the NFL's elite back then. But that aside, you look at you look at the fact that the Chargers again, solid offense, but a lot. To your point, you look at those monster stats. He's not spoken about enough. So
Mhm.
he's also a big part of the Chargers' offensive success. You also look at what their quarterback Justin Herbert's able to do. And hey, I'm going to say this: if the Chargers are able to build up their defense over the course of the next few years, and also maybe get some skilled players on offense, this Chargers team could go from a wild card playoff team, solid team, to a deep playoff run. So that's something to think about right there. But again, I really like NFL 100 because a lot of NFL fans, unfortunately, the media is not going to talk about all these players. I understand they can't. It's impossible. But I'm glad that these players get their well deserved spotlight.
Mhm. Felix, you and I were talking off the air the other day, and
Mhm.
we were talking about, which we can't repeat on air, how excited we are about the NFL season about to get started. We can't talk about what we were saying, but yesterday this is one of the slower times of the year for sports, around the Major League Baseball All-Star game. If you notice, that's why guys like Greeny and Stephen A. Smith are on vacation, because this is literally the slowest time, and we're revving up. We're revving up for the NFL. So yeah, I say all that because yesterday I actually watched the playoff game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. And man, I saw the game live, but I watched it again yesterday, and I believe that if it doesn't start snowing, I think the Rams would have beat the Eagles. I really do. And Kyron Williams was one of the guys. And don't get it twisted. Saquon Barkley rushed for 200 yards in that game. It's hard to win when you give up 200 yards rushing to Saquon Barkley. But even with that being said, Felix, if it doesn't snow, I think the Rams would have beat the Eagles. And then and you guys can believe this because Tom the Bomb is not a homer. I'm not a Washington Commanders fan, but I believe that if Washington goes to LA and plays the Rams in LA rather than the Eagles in Philadelphia, I think that your Commanders would have been in the Super Bowl, because some teams just match up better, and the Rams really match up well against the Eagles. But I don't think the Rams would have matched up better against your Washington Commanders. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I remember heading into the playoffs. I actually wanted us to play against the Rams. I
Mhm.
was more concerned about playing against the Buccaneers because I know how good they can be, especially with Chris Godwin and Mike. It's not Chris Godwin, Mike Evans,
Mhm.
and their rookie running back.
Mhm.
So the thing with the Rams, I mean, to your point, yes, people forget this, but they were only a few crucial plays away
Yes.
from winning that game.
Yes.
People don't remember how close that game
It was
actually
really
was.
close. It was
And
the Eagles got by the chin, by the hair on their chin, chin, chin. They really, really did. Let's
that's
move
why
on. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that's why you call guys like Saquon a game breaker because
Yes.
without major plays, right, a lot of those Eagles games go the other way without
Hmm.
Saquon.
Yeah, and like I said, he rushed for over 200 yards, and they still almost lost that game. When a guy runs for that many yards, I mean, when he ran against all those yards against your Commanders, that game was over. It was over. Let's move on. Number 84, we got Christian Gonzalez, cornerback of the New England Patriots. He had 59 tackles, two interceptions, one for a TD. He's the QB of the defense. He's what Drake May is to the New England's offense. That's what Christian Gonzalez is to the Patriots defense. He's a great corner cover guy, and he matches up with everybody's number one receiver, which tells you he's a shutdown corner. What's your take on Christian Gonzalez?
I think that's just about. I think you pretty much summed it up right there. And you look at the Patriots; they were already they already had one of the better defenses. Well, they already had a solid pieces in place with defense. Then you look at Christian Gonzalez; he adds on to that. So in all reality, once again, now the Patriots are another team, although they're not doing very well. If they're able to build on what they have with Gonzalez, with some of the strengths that they do have, they can actually improve themselves over the course of the next few years. And again, you summed it up perfectly. Christian Gonzalez, he's everything you want in the corner.
All right, let's move on. At 83, we got Cameron Haywood, defensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 71 tackles and 8 sacks. This graybeard is giving Father Time a run for his money at age 35. He's still getting it done. He's a seven-time Pro Bowler, and he's still an unbelievable run stopper. What's your take quickly on Cam Haywood?
I'd say that he's just one of those all-time players, and he's still going. And the team, his team is very fortunate to have him there. So I'll say that.
All right. At 82, we got Jerry Judy, the wide
Good job.
receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He had 90 receptions for 1,229 yards, his best year ever in the NFL with 4 TDs. He finished sixth in the league in receiving yards, and he's still on the cups of becoming great. What's your take on Jerry Judy?
I think Judy is one of those players that gets. I hate to say it this way, but his notoriety and his overall success is going as far as the team that he's on will take him. So again, again, he's one of those players, unless you're an avid fan or you take notes copiously, he kind of slips under the radar because, again, he's not really talked about that much by a lot of national news sources. And once again, it's hard to talk about everyone, but I'm just glad he's getting his recognition.
Well, the one thing that I like about this, Felix, is this is voted on by the players, and the
Yes.
players know who the players are. And Jerry Judy is a great route runner, and he's got great hands, so that gets him in. At 81, we got Trent McDuffie, cornerback of the Mother Wigs Kansas City Chiefs. He had 59 tackles, 2 interceptions. He's a staple. He's a main cog in Kansas City's defensive secondary. He's a tough tackler, and he's also a lockdown corner on the number one receiver. And he's in particular, he's known for his press coverage. What's your take on Trent McDuffie?
I think the 59 tackles tells you everything you need to know because when you hear about defensive backs, tackles is not one of the first things you want, the first things people look at. But if you look at it from a certain context, he's preventing big plays from swelling and getting out of control. He's preventing first downs from becoming touchdowns, or say a 20-yard pass from getting to their red zone. So those 59, I think those 59 tackles tell the tale of the tape and why he's voted that highly. And again, you usually don't get that kind of monster number out of the defensive back.
Hey, Felix, I'd like for you to close the show out and tell us what's going on in the Washington Commanders camp. Can you give us an update on what's going on with your Commanders?
So I was waiting for this. So first off, Commanders fans, for those of you listening, this is the first time in a long time we don't have to take too much focus on the quarterback position, which is a great relief. So I want to start. But secondly, I wanted to say this with the Terry McLaurin situation. I'm hoping it ends out the same way the Jamar Chase situation in Cincinnati does, an eventual but successful contract signing. But in the case it doesn't, we need to look at our depth chart. Now, here's the thing. I'm looking at some solid talent that we had on at the wide receiver position that was underused, of course, because Terry McLaurin's the number one guy.
Mhm.
And I think that now that McLaurin may not be playing, we still have some solid options because you look at Luke McCaffrey, he has the highest separation rate out of all NFL wide receivers.
Mhm.
So I think so his route run is good. You just want to see what routes work best for him, give
Mhm.
him a lot of reps, see how consistently he can catch the ball. Yami Brown, solid route runner. He's been on the roster for the better part, if not 5 years. So really, with Yami Brown, his main issue, his kryptonite's dropping the ball. So
Mhm.
if
Mhm.
we work on that, iron that out of him, and from there he's set because we saw that Detroit Lions game. That's what we saw in him when we first drafted him, and that's what we saw in him all that time we kept him on roster. So if we can get past that, that would be good. And we talked about Debo Samuel, but he's not a traditional wide receiver. That's why I left him out. He's only going to be there for specialty plays, like I
Mhm.
said, an auxiliary role. Then, of course, Lamine Zacchaeus, he's already a solid player. With him, we just need to do some reps, quality control. Running back position, Brian Robinson, I would say that running backs usually go past their prime very quickly. So it's good that we drafted this running back out of Arizona. So he has a high pro football focus rating, about 89, about 8 yards a carry. So just figure out what role fits with him. See how you use him and B-Rob, how you can use them for role, how to keep defenses guessing, which gaps to attack, so on and so forth. Then lastly, I would say last position to focus on would be the defensive back position.
Mhm. Right.
Mainly Marshawn Lattimore. You want to see if his regression was due to injury or
Right. Right.
possibly
Good
just
point.
regression. So again, keep a close eye on him. And if his training camp doesn't go well, you might have to be ready to make a move by early November. So that's kind of the long and short of it.
Hey, Felix, I like what you said about Debo. Being a 49er fan, I know a lot about Debo, and he's kind of one of the nice new sexy toys for the Commanders. But
Mm.
I just wanted to let you Commander fans know, if the Commanders do this right, you want to make sure that Debo is healthy in December. You want deep, and so I like what you said that they really shouldn't try to just throw Debo out there from day one and just like he's going to be our bread and butter. That's not the right way to use Debo. You want to have Debo ready in December. You want Debo snatching people's chains in December. That's what you want from Debo. So I like that idea. Hey, let's get to our poll question before we wrap up. Okay, so our poll question. Let me let Lori do her thing. Felix, if you want to take a shot at this, the poll question was, who has the record for most home runs in a single season in Major League Baseball? Felix, you want to take a shot at that?
clue would be very helpful if you don't mind.
A clue. Yeah, he's a catcher. Okay, you know what? You know what? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a clue. He's related to Tommy Lasorda. That's a good clue. He's actually related to Tommy Lasorda. That's a good clue. Tom the Bomb's a seam head. He knows this stuff. He's related to Tommy Lasorda.
Still don't know.
You still don't know, huh?
Teenager's favorite
I'm
food.
so sorry.
What? Dr. Lawrence says, here's another guy. The teenager says, what is teenager's favorite food?
Teenager's favorite food.
Yeah. That's two good clues. Now, he's related to Tommy Lasorda and teenager's favorite food. That's good, Lori.
Okay, let me guess. What
Get-
do teenagers stereotypically eat? Snacks? Snacks are real. No, I'm asking for too much.
You
Okay,
you really are, you.
Pizza, what? Like pizza,
Oh,
fries,
okay.
snacks.
So give me a guess before we run out of time on air. How about Mike Piazza?
Mike Piazza.
Mike Piazza hit 40 dingers. That's currently the major league record for catchers in a single season. Cal, the big dumper Riley, already has 33 dingers at the All-Star break. He's on pace to hit 62. So we should have a new home run leader from the catching position by the end of the season from the big dumper. So the answer to the trivia question is Mike Piazza. And he is related to Tommy Sorter, and he hit 40 dingers. I can't remember the year back in the 2000s. So that's our trivia question. Hey, gang.
2001?
Huh?
2001?
That could be it. That could be it. It was in the 2000s. So that's Mike Piazza. Great home run hitter as a catcher. Hey, gang, that's our show for today. Hey, listen, don't forget. I'm sorry, you need to get in there, Lori? Okay. You can go ahead. Okay. Don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube. And hit that like bell, please, if you're enjoying the content and you'd like. Okay, there we go. Thank you. There we go. All right, now she got me. All right. If you like the content, if you're enjoying the content and you'd like to bless our ministry, you can sow into the Tom the Bomb Sports Talk by cash apping us at $ Tom the Bomb Sports Talk. And don't forget to check out our website at www.tomthebombsports.com. And you can also email us at info@tomthebombsports.com. So with our poll question, you can send it to our email at info@tomthebombsports.com. Hey, for a dynamic, in-depth sports analysis and highlights for sports in the DMV and more, check out the Washington Sports Den on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on WBGR with my main man, Mr. Felix Bassie. Hey, man, time flies when you're having fun. We're out of time here, but we sure do thank you for spending your time with us. We don't take that for granted. Listen, may the gates of heaven open and pour out an abundance of blessings down on you that there won't be room enough to contain it as you live off the overflow and step boldly into the realm of grace. Remember, if you want it, you got to confess it with your mouth and believe it in your heart that Jesus died on the cross and that he rose on the third day, not a Thursday, right, Lori?
Right.
Just for you. Hey, gang, Tom Bomb wants to leave you with a thought today. Duct tape may patch up a lot of things, but 3 nails fixed everything. Remember, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Listen, may God bless you. We'll see you guys next week on this same bat time, on this same bat channel. Look, you guys have a good evening, have a good week, and enjoy the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby tonight. You want to say good night, Lori?
Good night.
Dr. Lawrence says good night. Good night. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Felix.
Of course.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you
I'm coming out with a word in my mouth, filled with excitement to say what it's all about. For a long time, I've held this water in, let the floodgates open, let the miracles begin. I've prayed, and I've gone back 7 times, look again, cause the miracles are mine, stir the water. I'm about to step in like the pool of Bethesda, let the healing begin.
Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine. Daughter of mine, this is your time, and you gon' shine, and you gon' shine.
It took a minute to get my composure right. For years it seems like I've been fighting for my life. Confusing times when my days resemble nights. But now this eagle is about to take flight and soar out of darkness to its revelation light. Though the waves are rough, I step out my comfort zone to walk on water, cause I know I'm not alone. God's got my back and reminds me I'm his own. His words are sweet in my mouth, they taste like a honeycomb. And faith has opened up my eyes. I've been through the fire, tested and tried. As I study God's word, I finally realize that my purpose I have to visualize, to bring the unseen from the realm of under night until I walk into the fullness of a purpose-filled life. Cause I'm light. Yes, I am light, and I shine bright. I am an investment of the Lord Jesus Christ. Not only am I light, I am salt. When I enter in, I add flavor to it all. I bring truth, there's no dispute. Jesus is the vine, and in him I take root. I am the head, and not the tail. I'm an overcomer made free to prevail. A new design, a special kind. Ambassador followed by wonders and signs. I am light, and I give sight.